y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we've done all our assessment and analysis for the 4 elements of handicapping: form, class, speed, and pace. Now it's time to put it all together. So here we are with our final assessment. Part 5 is our final assessment. We draw our final conclusions as to the prospects for each contender based upon our evaluations for each on form, class, speed, and pace. Number 1 is National Treasure. He is at 4-1. We see form grade is a C+ based upon his rather erratic Derby prep season and the fact that he had to interrupt some training and whatnot. He's had a couple of okay efforts, but I think he's sitting on a big one. His pattern suggests that. Class grade, I think he definitely competes with these based upon his pedigree and prior performance. Speed grade, he's right there with another move forward. I think he has a winning effort in him. And pace-wise, again, it has to do with the erratic training schedule, but he is on the upswing and another move forward is expected. I think what National Treasure is a win candidate in this race, based upon the fact that another move forward is very likely. If you don't want him as a win candidate, I think he's an absolute use based upon all 4 elements. Number 2 is Chase the Chaos. He hasn't done anything to tell me that he's going to compete in this race. I think he hasn't factored. In particular, the last couple of races he's had, were very poor efforts, so I don't think he's in good form. Class, he sort of competes with these based upon his pedigree to a certain degree. He's definitely not fast enough, so he gets a D for speed, and pace-wise, obviously, that's going to leave him out of it as well, so he's a toss. Mage, our Kentucky Derby winner, hasn't done anything wrong. Fully expect him to run a decent race. Even if he does not build on the Kentucky Derby and runs the same race, I think he can win this race pretty easily. There's really no reason to toss him. He's a definite use and a win candidate. Coffee with Chris is a pace factor only. He may linger a little longer in the stretch than perhaps we might expect. However, his form, class, speed, and pace, all of which do not match up in this race, and he's a toss. Red Route 1 is based upon his Derby Trail performance and whatnot. I think he's on a positive upswing, and so I'm expecting a better race. Don't necessarily think it would be a winning effort, but I think he'll definitely factor. He seems to be more forwardly engaged in the race now, and I think that's really important here. His pace and numbers indicate that, and so I think he's a definite use underneath. Particularly his late running style should have him coming late, and you never know, he might just be able to get up at the wire if the pace is a little faster, and I do think it's going to be a little faster than perhaps we might expect. Perform ran a great Federico Tesio. Most of our evaluation is based upon that. He's coming in, that was just an outstanding race. I mean, Feargal Lynch gave him a ride for the ages. He had plenty of horse left. So I think a move forward is certainly possible here. He definitely meets the class specifics with his connections and his pedigree. Pace-wise, he's a little, his second and third fractions, he does maintain the same pace level, which I think is a pretty good thing. I'm just not sure he's fast enough. That's really what it comes down to. An 85 buyer is not going to cut it here. A move forward is certainly possible. Shug McGee, he's a great trainer, but I think at best he comes in underneath. Blazing Sevens is another one that sort of had an erratic schedule this year. That Fountain of Youth was a paid workout. The Bluegrass, I believe he redeemed himself to a certain degree, but you do have to remember he kind of flattened out in the stretch and was no match for Tapatrois or Verifying, and he was a distant third. So he would need another move forward, in my opinion. It's possible, but he does have a pattern of regressing off of a good effort. So we do have to keep that in mind. I think that, there's no reason not to use him in an 8-horse field, but I think underneath is the extent of his participation here. First mission, we all, we saw that Lexington, and, he looks awful good right now. Form-wise, he couldn't be coming in and better. He's certainly been building after each win, and he's getting better. Class-wise, pedigree, no problem. Speed-wise, I think he's definitely within the mix for sure. I think he would need another move forward in order to be a win candidate, and I'm not overly certain that's possible. He may regress slightly. He did in his first two efforts. So he's developing a bit of a Z pattern. So I think he's absolutely a candidate to use. And if you like him, I wouldn't blame you for putting him on top to win. But I have a feeling that the under is the best he's going to do. And I think at 5-2, he's a bit of an underlay for those reasons. But wouldn't talk you out of it if you want to use him on top. So finally, this is what I see from my evaluation. I'm going to use National Treasure and Mage as win candidates for the reasons stated. Using, you got Red Route 1 coming late, Perform, same thing. Blazing Sevens should, if he does run a better race than expected, that would put him underneath. And First Mission, certainly, I think, is a definite use underneath. It's an 8-horse field, so we only have 2 tosses. Jason Chaos and Coffee with Chris, I just don't think can factor in this race whatsoever. You're going to get a little pace presence from Coffee with Chris that will help the scenario for Mage, I believe. And I don't think Mage has to run his best race to win this. That's the bottom line to it, and he's the best horse in the field, so I'm kind of leaning towards him on top, but I think National Treasure has a real chance to upset the apple cart as well. Pretty straightforward. I think our analysis, that you've watched all 4 parts, I think you pretty much knew what conclusions we were going to come to. It's an 8-horse field, and it's a pretty straightforward race. I think Mage is the best horse in the race, and that's the bottom line. And I don't think he has to run his best race to win it. But National Treasure may have something up his sleeve, and might be able to pull off the upset. He's got Baffert in his corner now, so anything's possible. We're going to have an all-stakes pick 5 for the Preakness. We will have that in the very near future, so be on the lookout for that. And we'll also continue with our Belmont card series, save for Saturday. We'll concentrate on the Preakness for that, but then we'll have Sunday and onward all the way up to the Belmont Stakes. Real curious to know what you guys think we can do to get a better field in the Preakness. Preakness is past. We've always had 14 horses or around there and a lot deeper fields, and it's a little disappointing to have this is a pretty good field, but it could have been a lot better for sure. So curious to know what you guys think about that. Drop me a line and let me know. If you do like what you see here, of course, please like and subscribe, and we do thank you for coming by, and keep those comments coming. As I mentioned, I'd love to hear from you, and I'll be talking to you in the very near future. So until then, be well.